Ladies and gentlemen, boys and pearls, welcome to episode 10 of the Bearded Purl Podcast. I'm Caleb.
I'm Justin.
And this is a podcast about the fiber arts and other crafty shenanigans. You can find us on Ravelry, YouTube, and Instagram as the Bearded Purl. Welcome, friends.
Hi, guys.
It's been a little while, but the holidays are upon us, even though they look much different this year. We still ended up cooking a big Thanksgiving dinner for the two of us. So that was kind of a...
You just jumped right into Thanksgiving.
I did. I'm on a roll.
All right, and we're done.
So it was Thanksgiving in the United States last Thursday.
Should we start chronologically?
Probably a good idea.
Time out. Rewind.
Okay.
4 weeks ago, when we saw you last, what were we doing?
I don't even know what I did this morning.
I know what you did this morning.
Oh, I'm aware.
10 kilometers. That's what you did this morning.
Yeah.
Look, I took notes. What have we been doing? So, it's been a month, 4 weeks. Wow, time really flies.
Although, that's life. It happens.
Yeah, we've been busy. What are you doing?
What have we been doing?
Oh, well,
Look at your notes.
We had a presidential election here in the U.S. That was... it seems
Still not over.
Seems like 10 years ago. It is still not over. That's what we were doing the week we recorded last time. Mm-hmm. Then the following week, because I know you guys are very concerned, we finally, after like 5 months... Bernie came back and fixed our microwave and dishwasher, which I think we used like 5 times within 24 hours.
Bernie is the appliance repairman, and
who apparently you're best friends with now.
Oh yeah, super friendly, very chatty man. I didn't know I was going to be helping him dismantle half of our appliances and then rebuild them.
These are skills.
But I now know how to take our range microwave off and put it back on, and
we have a new magnetron.
A new magnetron in the microwave.
It's very exciting. And the dishwasher works, and we're back to running it basically every single day.
We do a lot of cooking and baking, and it's just kind of a pain to have to do all that by hand.
Yeah. Again, we have very little to complain about in life right now, but it's a big moment to get the appliances working again. We have a fully functional kitchen.
Yes.
For the first time since July.
6 months?
It's been a minute.
It's been a little while.
Yeah, so microwave, dishwasher, stove, check. Hopefully you don't hear anything else about our kitchen appliances anytime soon.
Lord, I hope not.
Yeah. What else have we been doing? I made notes. Oh, we've mostly put the garden away for winter. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people have been inquiring about it. The last little step that we finished yesterday was to wrap all of the roses and lavender, get them all packed with leaves and covered up for the winter. So we might share a couple of pictures for how we put everything to bed at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But mostly the garden it's cleaned up, taken care of. The deer have been snacking on all of our fall pumpkins that we've set out, which has been a lot of fun. We find squirrels inside them during the day. The deer move them at night. It's quite entertaining to look out the window.
They really left them alone until maybe just 2 weeks ago. And then all of our pumpkins were spread across the yard.
They're like bowling in the middle of the night. I don't know
half
what
of them
doing.
Were eaten almost completely. All you'll see is a stem and like a hunk of pumpkin.
Which we're fine with.
Yeah.
Many of you suggested great things like contacting cattle farms, different composting ideas.
My parents have ducks and chickens, and so
they like the pumpkins.
We'll give some of them to them, but there's only so many that they should.
We're gonna find pumpkins growing everywhere next year. Yeah. Everywhere.
We found one of our pumpkins like down the street, half eaten. I don't know what was going on with the deer that day, but
we claim no responsibility.
Happy to feed them.
Yeah.
Although I just wish they would leave it in the yard and not kick it around halfway.
I think the chipmunks have officially gone into hibernation for the winter.
Which, they're fine. I'm just gonna say they're fine. We may have disrupted their home, but they rebuilt really quickly.
I don't think we disrupted their
fine.
home. I think all we did was they'd had to remodel the front door.
Yeah.
Their home is clearly fine. And when I filled in all the dirt from the sidewalk, I left their opening open. So they'll be fine.
They're tucked away nice and cozy, I'm sure.
We'll see them in the spring. What else is going on outside? Oh, our house is a terrible mix right now.
All of
Thanksgiving,
our fall, Thanksgiving,
Christmas,
autumn / Christmas, winter decorations are currently all over the place.
Yeah.
It's like that for about 2 days.
It might take us all week.
Yeah, and then we really
wrap
start
it
to get the transition happening from fall to winter. We don't really decorate for holidays.
We
more
decorate for seasons.
Seasons, yeah.
So
we
seasons,
leave
not
leave
holidays.
things up much longer. So we try and stay a little bit neutral as far as holidays go. And so
I'm laughing except for Christmas because we just kind of celebrate. Our house is full. Well, I mean, we don't do a lot of like Santa Claus.
I have one Santa.
We do more winter trees, snow, Christmas trees all winter long.
We also leave our Christmas trees up. Don't judge us. Through like February.
We leave them up until the village sends
Comes to
notification that the second Christmas tree pickup is happening. And that's
the second and final.
Yeah, the final. That's the signal to take the tree down. So in Christmas, while we celebrate Christmas at our house, in Christmas related news, we went yesterday and cut down our tree, which has been an annual tradition for us.
The weather was great.
It
wasn't snowy.
50 degrees, the sun was shining.
It wasn't super muddy. It was a little messy, but the last couple of years that we've gone, it's either been like sleet,
Like a
rain, tons
wet,
of snow,
snowy, sloppy
lots of
mess.
mud, everyone's sliding.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
So we're getting there. By the end of the week, by the end of next weekend, we'll mostly be decorated and have only one holiday showing.
And
one season.
we always do a live Christmas tree, or to say a real Christmas tree, in the living room, and then artificial elsewhere.
Yep.
Just because it's fun and, tradition and family and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so we picked out a balsam fir this year. A nice 7-foot tall.
It's 1 inch from the ceiling.
We
did good.
We did.
We didn't have to trim it this year when we got home.
And we always managed to get like the last little inch out of a Christmas tree. So that can fit in our living room. We got smart the first year we went and took a tape measure. Always recommend that.
They look so much bigger in the field.
Was it the first year or the second year that we went to the tree farm? And at that time, there wasn't any COVID or anything like that. So they were doing wagon rides, and you would go in the field, find your tree, cut it down. And this is like a 20-acre property, so you could really go for a long ways and get lost. And so then the wagon will come around and pick you up at these different designated stops and just throw your tree in the back. This one family got, maybe a 20-foot Christmas tree that was 12 feet wide. It was huge.
Monstrous.
And so they just laughed at him and drove the wagon past. They're like, this isn't going to happen this stop.
We're going to have to come back
people.
for you. Somebody was getting a tree almost that big yesterday. I don't know if you saw that last one, but it took like 3 people to hoist it onto the wagon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. As we were walking up the hill.
We avoided human beings as much as possible yesterday because we'll just say Wisconsin is falling apart right now. Plague everywhere.
Yeah.
So we stayed away from people. We carried our own tree.
We had our masks on, went and found our tree,
got in, got
cut
out.
it down, and left. That was it.
Bing, bang, boom. She got the tickets.
Something about a dime and a door handle. She won the tickets.
Now we skip Thanksgiving. I went too far back, and then we went too far forward. What did we do last week?
Nothing.
We've been off for 4 days. Well,
We have. Well,
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you took off on Friday.
Yep.
So Thanksgiving is always celebrated Thursday. Is it the third Thursday? I don't know. One of the Thursdays in November.
We also avoided our families. Sorry, family, we love you.
But,
not that any of you are watching this right now.
Yeah, I don't think any of my family watches. Your family does, though. They love you.
Weirdly, they do. They not the love me part. They do. I think they all check in and watch episodes. My mom's behind, but we alternate holidays. We alternate the Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays with our families, and this was our year to be with your family for Thanksgiving and my family for Christmas. But
right, and we celebrate them both at the same time.
Yeah, we did not get together with any of your family that's here. Mm-mm. We were all on our own, independent, and my family, to be determined who, if any of them, are getting together at Christmas. But I think it's pretty solid that we're not going to be going.
Yeah,
it's either almost 48 hours of driving.
I mean, we're not going
round trip, or a lot of flights for us, and then a lot of people in a house. So. Yeah. Anyway, holidays are a little bit different, but we had a nice day. As you mentioned, we cooked a full Thanksgiving meal for the two of us.
Speaking of which, we were just going to do like a turkey breast for the two of us.
Reasonable.
And my mother insisted on getting us a 12-pound turkey for 2 people.
Yeah.
It was fine. I mean, well, plenty of leftovers and.
Other than that, we did pretty good. We made
just enough sides to have.
We ate Thanksgiving for 3 days, and it's all gone now except the turkey. So
that gravy. Mm. So, as many of you know, we are absolute fans of America's Test Kitchen, and so, like, I feel like every holiday we add one more recipe of theirs to our lineup, and so. This year we made an America's Test Kitchen turkey, I should say recipe, and their gravy, and then I did a cranberry curd tart, which was really good. Mm-hmm. Also gluten-free, which was fun. But the gravy took almost 2 hours to make.
At least.
Because you had to brown the bits, and then make a stock out of it, let it simmer for an hour, and then thicken it. Totally worth it, though.
The best gravy ever.
So good.
Yeah. We saved every drop.
And I get the little kind of reusable deli containers. And so I think we have 2 small ones that I've frozen.
Yeah.
It's tasty. But it was good. It was just us. It was nice.
It was a busy day.
Well, I mean, it was like 8 hours of cooking for 2 people.
It seems like we've not been that busy for the last 4 weeks, except when you add all of that into... I think we've made 125 bags for the shop in 4 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, where's our life gone? I know we've not been that busy.
We had a shop update.
There it is.
We also did a super fun... Do we want to dive into that right now? Or hold off?
We'll get there. I mean...
We'll get there eventually.
We're wrapping up the...
We did a super fun
jibber
kit.
jabble. Jibber jabble? I don't know what we're doing today.
We did a super fun kit with Woolens and Nosh, which was 60 bags. And what else?
Shop update 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Everything got shipped out.
Mm-hmm.
We've been busy. Plus work and life.
Yeah, work and life. And then, the holidays are weird to begin with. And then not being with family. And there are some days where we're just not feeling it. And, when you're just in a mood, you don't want to record and be grumpy and...
I'm feeling like we're so tired today, and then I just remembered why. We've not talked about today yet. We should talk about this really quickly.
The 10K?
Since we're sitting here, I'm looking at us in the screen, like, why do we look so tired? It's because we are tired.
Yeah.
So today, I'm just going to wrap this up, and then we'll get into the good stuff, the knitting. Except it's going to be a bit of a story. So hang in here, guys. Today, we did not run today, a 10K this morning, the Peachtree Road Race, which is put on by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. I believe at one point it may still be the largest 10K in the world, and it's one that has some special meaning for me and my family. And last year, kind of in honor of my dad. I can't remember. Have I talked about this at all?
No.
Oh,
I would tell the story.
Yeah. So last year, in memory of my father, who ran the Peachtree road race every year that we lived in Atlanta when I was growing up, I decided to run it. So I trained. It's usually held on the 4th of July every year. Well, this year I didn't register because I had no intentions of going to Atlanta for the 4th of July. And the registration happens in, I think, mid-February. So that was very, very early days of COVID here in the US. And registration closes, well, July came and went. I get the email. So I saw at one point that it had been postponed. Mm-hmm. And then I can't remember exactly if it was canceled and then they brought it back. But long story short, maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, I got an email that said they were doing the 10K virtually. And if you were interested, you could still register. And I thought, well, what a fun way to participate, but not travel to Atlanta. And so I registered. And you had from the 26th, I think, until tomorrow. We're recording today is Sunday.
My eyes are so dry. I'm sorry.
This morning, really, it whooped us. So with no training, I have not been running like I was last year. We go on walks regularly, but, leisurely, 1 or 2 mile strolls through the village.
Like a mile or two every couple of days.
Yeah, we walk regularly.
And that's about it.
But this morning, we got up and at 9:30 left to go.
Pre-coffee, pre-breakfast.
I mean, I was
barely
fed
awake.
and caffeinated. You were not?
I was not.
I'd been up for 2.5 hours when we left, but that's a different story.
I was up for a little while, but anyways, continue.
So we went this morning. Long story short, we walked 7.3 miles.
Mm-hmm. So
all around. I say the village, but we
went to the next town over.
We were all over.
So there's a really awesome trail that runs through, I think, like 3 towns along the highway, and so we walked all the way through the village that we live in, hopped on the trail, walked down through the next town, and then cut back around because it all kind of connects.
And then stopped at the grocery store for donuts and coffee.
Yep. Our little local market has kind of a coffee shop attached to it. And so, I mean, donuts were the plan if I was doing a 10K of anything. And so we walked and then ended up walking to the grocery store, got the donuts, and then on the way out, I got a coffee because it was cold.
And then we came and ate donuts and sat for like an hour.
Uh-huh.
And we've just kind of been dragging since.
I mean,
it's a heavy start to the morning.
It's a lot.
So bear with us. We are here mentally as much as we ever are. Don't let that frighten you. We've only been jabbering about nothing for 17, 18 minutes.
My life is not nothing.
No, this is, I mean...
And hey,
what does this sound like to people
10K.
that don't know us? And we really probably did almost 12 because we went a whole extra mile. Yeah, we did 7.5 miles.
That was a little rough.
Yeah. We won't be able to move tomorrow.
No.
Maybe.
No.
We'll see. Anyway, hi. Happy Sunday.
So,
let's get into knitting.
Yep, we have knitting. We have finished objects.
We've actually completed things. What are you wearing?
So this is finally my finished Spice cardigan by Andrea Mowry. And I knit mine out of the Magpie Fibers Ness Worsted in the Twilight Cinder color, and that's the gray. And that's 100% non-superwash Coriadale.
It looks so good.
I love it. And then the colored bits are Spin Cycle in their Dream State, which is the worsted weight base. It's 100% American superwash wool, and that's the Mississippi Marsala colorway. And so it's got a fun folded cuff, and I adore it. I washed it, blocked it, and it's just a super thick, cozy. It's steeked, so I've yet to sew in my little ribbon. But I'm going to sew this little sheep ribbon just to cover the steek. Not that it's necessary, but I think it'll be a little fun.
A little finishing detail.
Yeah. But I love it. It's so cozy. It has pockets. I forgot I knit the pockets out of my leftover Spin Cycle for some pop of color. So they're both almost the same. No, they're not.
They're both pockets.
They're both pockets.
Good job. They're both in the right spot now.
Oh, Man, let me tell you.
This sweater, I mean, you deserve.
I basically knit
a
it 3
medal.
times.
Yeah, for getting through it.
But it's done, and I love it. Absolutely adore it. Would totally make another one.
It fits. I mean, it's hard to tell because you're sitting down, and it's impossible for you to stand up where we are right now.
Yeah.
But it fits perfectly, and it looks really good.
Yeah. And I just love it. I would totally make another one. And maybe might make another one. It's just a super great cardigan. And I love those big, like, ramp style, not super oversized. I didn't make mine very oversized. There's maybe...
Did you make any modifications, or did you knit your
Yes,
size
I did.
as is?
So I knit my size.
Did you make any intentional modifications?
What are you trying to get at?
I mean, you modified the pattern quite a bit along the way.
Shush. I did... The only modification I made was that I knit my sleeves on a larger needle. I think I knitted them on an 8. And I knit the body of my sweater on an 8. So they're both the same. They did recommend going up a needle size for the sleeve. And I can't remember what needle size that was. But I knit mine on a US 8. And then also did the body just because I like the fabric. And I got gauge with that. And I blocked
Are you
it.
going to put buttons on it?
Giving away all my secrets. You can't tell I don't have my button sewn on from this angle.
Oh.
Yes, I have really fun, almost like a caramel colored wooden button that I'm going to put on. And I'm going to wear the daylights out of this thing. I love it. Also, steeking is mildly heart attack inducing, a little bit scary, but so, oh my god. If you watched the last episode where we
Why
tried
do you
to
guys put up with us?
where we tried to explain a steek.
This? Like,
What? So, anyways, I would totally steek everything. It's fun. I'm kind of thinking about, like, what can I steek next? It's like a weird fascination now, but it's super fun. And just the way it works and the way that, I mean, the whole sweater doesn't unravel if you do your steek right. But I love it. I'm super happy with it. Love the way it turned out. And yeah. So that's the Spice Cardigan by Andrea Mowry. And I did do my cuffs on the recommended needle size. So the only thing I changed was just the needle size for the body and the sleeve. And that's my first FO. My only FO. What about you?
I have 3 FOs.
Wow. Aren't we impressive?
I finally.
Also, look at my, not to interrupt, look at my fun new mug.
How close are these in color?
Pretty darn close.
Yeah.
So this is,
No crumbs left?
there's a, oh, that's coffee. I thought there was a stain or something. This is a No Crumbs Left, Terry Turner. She is a fabulous human being, and you can find her on Instagram as No Crumbs Left. She also has a cookbook and does a lot of great videos and has a super fun pottery line. But she has she calls them bone broth mugs, and they come in a bunch of different colors, and I got the red one. It's ruby glaze. It's only around for the holidays, and it's perfect. To me, it's just winter, like that red, that cardinal red. I love it.
It's pretty.
Anywho, back to knitting.
Speaking of red, I finished my mom's Calyx. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
This is, so I've talked about it a lot, so I won't go into too much detail, but just a quick review of some of the high-level things. I'm wondering if the furnace that's starting up is going to be noisy. Should I turn it off?
No. So our furnace sounds like we're throwing gravel into a blender. We should probably get that checked out.
I mean,
when the fan
only
starts.
just when the fan starts.
Just when the fan starts, it's fine.
Calms down. So this is the Calyx by Elizabeth Doherty. It's a really great sweater pattern I made it for my mom. The yarn is Miss Babs Yowza, which is a superwash merino DK in the color Scarlet Letter,
Which is a red.
which is red. Wow, today's going to be a struggle.
The drape on it is beautiful.
It turned out really nice. I am admittedly really nervous, and I don't know why, because it fits me, which is...
Well, and it fits...
It doesn't look good on me.
Well, your mom is also like 6 inches shorter than you.
Yeah. She's way cuter and way smaller.
I lost my whole train of thought.
Well, good, because it's my sweater. So, the Calyx, I'll tell you really quickly what I did. I knit the size 1, which is the first size, which somebody pointed out. I hadn't really thought about it, but it makes a lot of sense now. There's not a lot of options for sizing on the lower end, because my mom is small, but she's not teeny tiny. And I think it finished right around where it was supposed to, so about 40.5 inches. And that's size 1.
And it finished
at
the
chest.
the measurements that she gave you.
Yeah, and she...
So there's no reason it shouldn't fit.
Right. But it's just that moment where you're getting ready to send someone a sweater in the mail and pray that it fits.
Right.
Plus, it'll take my mom 19 months to admit that it doesn't fit the way she wanted it to, if it doesn't.
Like
so
the hat that you made her.
Yeah, that's a different story for another day. I'm going to be re-knitting a hat for my mother, who finally admitted that it doesn't fit, even though I already knew it didn't fit. So I knit the size 1. I really only made 2 modifications to the pattern. I got gauge. This one I was on gauge at the recommended needle size, which was a US 7. So I made 2 adjustments in the sleeves. The first adjustment I made the pattern recommends going up a needle size if your gauge is smaller on a small circumference. And I did not check that, and I did not go up a needle size, and maybe I should have. I didn't check it beforehand, and actually I didn't check it afterwards because I already knit the sweater, so it's irrelevant at this point. But the 2 changes I made, when I knit the sleeve according to the sweater, it was so tiny. Like, I feel like it was literally just this big around.
It was small. I mean, the stitch count alone was tiny.
The stitch count was low, and so I ended up adding... I need to go back and look at my notes, but I added somewhere between 12 and 16 stitches.
It looks like such a tiny sleeve when you just hold up the sleeve portion of it, but it's a drop shoulder.
Yeah, it's a drop shoulder, and it's just past the elbows, so not quite a 3/4 length sleeve. But yeah, it does look a little funny right here. So I ended up adding about 12 to 16 stitches. I'll have to check my notes exactly to see how many extra I added to the circumference of the sleeve itself, and then I was trying to figure out on my mom, again, I took it with me when I visited her like 6 weeks ago, but did I bother to have her try it on? No. And at that point also, it wasn't in any kind of...
I mean,
I had split for the front and the back,
yeah.
so it would have been like, can you physically get it around your body would have been the only helpful thing I would have learned at that time. So I did knit 1 extra repeat of the lace pattern in the sleeve chart, to make the sleeve just about an inch longer than it was before, because I wanted to make sure that it went past her elbow but didn't end up like right on her elbow to where she was constantly like pulling it down when she stood up and pushing it up. You know how like if you push up a sleeve, I feel like you're constantly futzing with it trying to get it in the right place. And I wanted to make sure that it was long enough that it would go past her elbow an inch or 2 and stay there unless she intentionally pushed it up. So those were really the only 2 modifications I made. I did pick up extra stitches in the sleeve to make sure that it was big enough around, and then I knit 1 extra repeat. But I'm thrilled. I know I've said this a couple of times. I would have been intimidated by the pattern had I read it before I bought it, and I probably would have convinced myself not to do it. There are a lot of finishing details and a lot of things. So for example, like there's a lateral braid on the collar when you pick up for the collar, and there's the lace detail on the sleeve, and there's the drop shoulder, and you knit the little shoulder cap and then pick up the sleeve. So there's a lot of components to the sweater, but at the same time the pattern was really well written. It was very easy to follow, and I'm very pleased with it. And in the end, I think it's going to look great on my mom. It's got a nice, I haven't showed the bottom yet, because the very last thing you do is pick up the provisional cast on and then knit an I-cord bind off on the bottom. So again, the whole thing is just finished really nicely. I think it's going to be a great Christmas gift for her. And now that I've shown it to you guys, I'm going to get it in the mail to her this week. So really excited to have that done. Is that it? That's all my notes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you want me to show my other finished objects?
Yes, I'm going to just close that door.
Oh. Who knows what's happening right now? You totally threw me off. So my next finished object that ties into the kit you were talking about are my garter rib socks that I knit. This is
oh man, we forgot the tuft stuff that went with that.
okay. Total nuclear meltdown. We don't know what's happening right now. We're just going to talk. We're going to forget things. You're going to leave. We don't know what's going
I'm
on.
not gonna leave.
So this is a garter rib sock. I call it a garter rib. So it's knit 2, purl 2 on one row, and then the next row is all knit. So it looks like a rib, except you can see the garter stitch section underneath instead of all purls. I did actually block these because the garter rib looks a little bit nicer after it's blocked, and I wanted to make sure to show you what it looked like here. So this yarn is from our dear friend Michelle at Woolens and Nosh, who I feel like I've tortured just to no end, whatever the right word to insert there is. So sorry, Michelle, we love you. This is in her Cookie Swap colorway, which is part of the kit that she has. Hey, Daph. The kit that she has available, it went live yesterday, and there are still some available. So if you're interested, we'll talk about that a bit more in a minute. This is on her 75-25 superwash Corriedale base. So it's 75% superwash Corriedale, 25% nylon. And this yarn is amazing. You're just smiling because of the cat, aren't you?
I am.
You're gonna see. Should we set a timer and see how long she stays?
She's my favorite.
If you've not knit with sock yarns that are not merino, I would highly recommend giving some of these a try. Michelle has done, we'll make sure to link her Instagram page. She's done a lot of videos about this yarn and her kit in particular. And she did a really nice live yesterday comparing this base, her Corriedale base, with her Targhee base, which I have in a different colorway. Mm-hmm. This yarn, though, in 100 grams, it's 383 yards.
Super squishy.
Like, when you hold it up next to a regular 3-ply superwash merino sock yarn, it looks literally twice as big. So it's a super thick, plush, nice yarn.
Love it.
It's so great.
I can't wait to make a ton of socks with it.
I may have bought like every holiday colorway she dyed just because of this base. So this is again the Corriedale base. I think it's a 9-stripe repeat in the main colorway, and then for her kits, she's selling them either with a blue mini or a green mini, and I want to say it's the darker of the two greens. Mm-hmm. I think is what it looked like in her video. So if you're interested, go check out Michelle's shop. But this is a really great base if you're mm-hmm. looking to try something new. It's woolier than merino. But I feel like merino, it's from a soft texture standpoint, it's about as vanilla as you can get. It's mm-hmm. really soft like cotton. It just has such a nice texture and a nice feel. And these socks feel amazing mm-hmm. when you put them on. So really fun. I did a slip stitch heel with the garter edge. I've talked about this quite a bit with my other socks. It makes a really nice edge to pick up. I did a 72 stitch sock on a US 1, which is a 2.25 millimeter, right?
Yes.
Yep. And then I did the anatomic toes. So I have a left and right sock. This is the right one. So you have most of the decreases on one side.
I just love those socks.
Except for a little toe shaping. They turned out so well. I'm really thrilled with these. And again, the yarn is amazing. Mm-hmm. And I'm really looking forward to trying her Targhee base. And I bought a lot of yarn from Michelle.
And so that's part of a kit that Michelle and a couple of other makers, including us, put together. They're available in Michelle's shop. A portion of each kit sold does help benefit Feeding America. So it's a super fun kit that also helps benefit a great cause. And I mean, we kind of used and knit with everything in the kit right away before we have a picture of it. But so this is from Michelle's Instagram. And so we did a really cool project bag that's kind of cookie swap themed. Mm-hmm. So everything in the kit is cookie swap themed. And if you see in the bottom of the picture here in the corner, Michelle used to decorate cookies and is an amazing baker. So that was the inspiration photo. And so we did kind of a cookie swap themed bag. And then
which are really cute.
They're really cute. There's Michelle's yarn. Mm-hmm. And then
this same yarn.
Yes. And so this kit has the blue mini, but you can choose blue or green and whatever base you want of hers. Then there's Martha from Tuft Woolens did a Michelle's gingerbread lip balm, sorry, and then a sugar cookie hand balm. So that was a super fun addition to the kit as well. And then there's a really cute cookie cutter that we thought would be a great addition to it as well. So it's something interesting. It makes this adorable little snowman that you could also probably turn into a gnome. Really cute.
I think she said also like something with a cloak because it's just the outline.
It's really cute.
You could really do a lot with it.
All of that is in the kit, and
the kit includes free shipping in the US, discounted shipping in Canada. Mm-hmm. I can't remember. Did she say about international shipping?
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Like I said, great kit, really fun. Treat yourself. We'll link Michelle's shop. She is a lovely human being. We'll link her shop below and in the show notes. But it's kind of a fun kit that we put together, and then the Feeding America portion of it is really cool too.
Nice to donate some money as part of it as well.
Because we always like to give back, and with our last shop update, because every time we have a shop update or sell bags in the shop, we also give back a portion of the bags to different charities and organizations, some local, some national. And so this time we picked something kind of closer to home. COVID has really been affecting the area that we live in, and I mean amongst the entirety of the world. But so we donated to our local United Way, and they have set up a really large COVID relief fund, and they partner with a multitude of organizations in the community that help distribute food, supplies, resources. So we donated a big portion to that, and then matched it personally. So we ended up donating $500, which was amazing. So thank you for all of you that have purchased bags, and we really love being able to do that and give back to the community, because it's what it's all about. We're kind of in the season of giving, the holiday spirit, and so we like to give all year round, and that's important to us. So we thank you all for that, and I hope you all can get a kit.
Yeah, she's got less than half left at this point, I think. I didn't check with her this morning.
So we have the stuff in the kit, but I want to buy a kit anyways. And she was texting me the other night and said that Dave, who is her husband, bought her a kit before they all sold out. I mean, there's still some in the shop, but just wanted to make sure that she had some of the goodies to keep for herself. So that was kind of funny.
We're terrible about not keeping
anything.
Our favorite project bags.
Yeah, we make so many fun project bags that we love, and love the prints, and never keep any of them.
I was laughing
be better at that.
Earlier because all of my knitting projects, I mean, I have 2 project bags, but like I literally have a public library tote bag that all of my stuff is shoved into, and then a box on the floor.
Oh no, that was a historical society tote bag.
Whatever.
Anyways, it's not a knitting bag, and we make them.
Tangent. We're turning back to finished objects.
Back to finished objects.
Yeah. So check out Michelle's kits. My third finished object is not knitting, but spinning. I have yarn. I started spinning this. So I think I showed when we were together a month ago, 4 weeks ago. I
I think you just started.
I had about a third, I think, of the braid on the bobbin. So I still had my single going. But this is my yarn that I finished. Don't judge too harshly. I was kind of lazy spinning this, but I got it done really quickly, which was nice. So this is a BFL fiber. It's a 5-ounce braid, so that ends up being like 113, 115
It's a gradient.
grams. Yeah, it's a gradient in, oh my gosh, it literally did not write anything down.
It's Frabjous Fibers in the Dormouse colorway.
Yes, it's a Frabjous Fibers lamb tail, 5 ounces of BFL Blueface Leicester in, what did you say?
Dormouse.
Where is that even on here? Oh, right on the front.
Where it says colorway.
Hello. So this is in the Dormouse colorway. It's a gradient from kind of a dark chocolatey brown to a really light kind of sandy, I don't even know what that color is. Dormouse. From dark mouse to light mouse is what it goes to. So this, I ended up with right around 190, I think 196 yards is what I got out of 5 ounces. So it's going to be like a heavy DK or worsted weight yarn. I was kind of shooting for a DK, but yardage wise, I don't think I got there. But I think it could work easily with a DK or a worsted weight yarn. I spun this in the braid exactly how the gradient was, mostly exactly. I think the braid was in there in pieces, and I think when I took them out at one point, I flipped 2. So I'm not sure I got the gradient exactly right. It's
close enough.
Literally almost impossible to tell when you're just looking at the fiber. And then when I was plying it up, I was like, oh, maybe I did actually miss that one. So I did a Navajo ply or a chain ply, which is a way to maintain the color balance. So you'll notice I have, all the dark is together and then it moves through the gradient. I don't know if you can see any of the color switching bits. They'd be really small in here. But anyway, I'm really excited to use this. I was thinking originally that I would make mittens or a hat, but I think now that I like the gradient so much that I want to pair it with some sort of reddish yarn and maybe make it the yoke of a sweater and have it go light to dark, and be able to use the whole thing. I'd really hate to just use part of it since I have the whole gradient, but I finished this. It's washed and ready to go. It's a little bit sloppy, not my best spinning, but
that's the thing about Handspun. It's not perfect.
If I want perfect yarn, I'll buy it.
Exactly. And especially when you knit it, you're not going to notice that there's any sort of inconsistencies or flaws or anything like that. It's just going to knit it up beautifully.
Yeah,
so.
It's going to be, Handspun is so, I've used it more recently. I think we've used more of our Handspun in the last year and a half. And I'm always so surprised when I knit it up. Not surprised. I'm always reminded why I should use it more.
It's beautiful and it's a labor of love. And we have a
whole
whole bin that we don't use
right
because, it's one thing to spin the yarn. And then it's another thing to knit with it because it's too precious to knit
Plus,
with.
you love them. Like, I think this is the one I'm going to use next, but that's another story. Yeah, so it's why are we so distracted today? Like, I look at the cat and I completely forget what I'm talking about.
Well, normally she's napping over in the corner over there and she's very involved with what we're doing.
Clearly, we don't know what we're doing. I think for those of you who are spinners, the one other thing that I'll mention about the yarn, my default spinning is a semi-woolen yarn. So it's kind of halfway between a woolen and a worsted spun yarn. You may have heard those terms. If you're a spinner, you'll probably know those. If you're a knitter and you've heard of them but don't really know a lot about the differences, maybe a good example of a woolen spun yarn would be like Brooklyn Tweed, their Shelter or a Loft. I think Corey is also a woolen spun.
Yep.
The Barrett Wool Company yarn that I'll show in a little bit is also a woolen spun, so they're lighter and spongier. I know a lot of people talk about how easy they are to break and how concerning that is in yarn. What's interesting though about woolen spun yarns, they have a lot more air, and so they have, they have that fluffier or spongy texture, and they are definitely less strong, especially as a yarn, but when you block them, part of the beauty of a woolen spun yarn is they really bloom and kind of mesh themselves like the fibers mesh themselves together when you wash and block a garment. And so think of it almost as like felting on a micro level. So on a certain level, the yarn kind of felts itself together a little bit, and it builds a lot of structure.
But the stitches lock in place.
I mean, it does in a way. It kind of felts. Like, it's kind of the beauty of the yarn. So if you've ever tried Brooklyn tweed and you're scared to death when it snaps in your hand, maybe have a glass of wine if you're into that. Or maybe not. Or maybe not, yeah, depending. And know that it will get a lot stronger in the final garment. The fabric is stronger. But this is
the real difference between a woolen and a worsted spun yarn is that all of the fibers are aligned in a worsted spun. So all of the fibers are going the same direction. And
attenuated. That's a big word.
Fancy. Which means that the yarn is going to be stronger. It's going to be shinier. It's going to have a higher luster because the light is going to reflect differently off of fibers that are aligned. And it'll be heavier per yardage. So you might get per 100 grams of a worsted weight, or worsted spun, worsted weight, you might get, 210 yards, but a 100-gram skein of a woolen spun, you might get 300 yards, just because there's so much more air worked into the fibers themselves. And so the woolen spun, all of the fibers are kind of crisscrossed, and so it tends to be a little bit duller. It doesn't reflect as much light. So the colors aren't as shiny or bright. But it's much more light and airy, and that
very insulating because it traps in the air. So it's lightweight but very warm.
Right. So a worsted spun will be more durable long term, depending on what you're using with it, than a woolen spun. But a woolen spun will be warmer. So
yeah, they're lightweight and really cozy. Yeah. So my default spin, I get the most even yarn if I do a semi-woolen spun. So I do let some of the twist go into my fiber as I'm spinning it, but just a little bit. But I do a short forward draw with the spin, so I get kind of...
So there's some alignment of the fibers, but there's still a little...
Yeah, it's a blend. It's kind of a 50-50 blend between the two, which I actually really like. It gives me a pretty nice yarn, and it knits up and wears really well. Cool. Do you have any... I have a half-finished object, a hoe.
A couple of hoes. I have a couple of works in progress.
Well, I've been talking a lot. How about you go?
Okay. So I will start with my socks. I have 2 pairs of socks to show you. The first one is, if you remember the giant giant sock snake that I showed a while back. My friend Sarah cranked a bunch of sock tubes for me, and I'm finally getting around to turning them into pairs of socks for Christmas. So this is just a stockinette tube. I added afterthought heels and toes and cuffs, and so the kind of taupey mousy brown color is Lorna's Laces.
Dormouse.
Yeah. It's a Lorna's Laces shepherd sock, which is an 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and it is in the Echo colorway. And then the heels, toes, and cuffs are in a leftover Hue Loco chicken set in the golden laced Wyandotte colorway. I love them. I thought it was kind of a fun combo, sort of a neutral sock. But yeah, really great. And what's fun about the afterthought heel, which tends to be a little bit tighter, I feel like, on people's...
I'll just say also that the heel right now looks a little bit crazy because you've knit it and unknit it like 35 times.
Yeah, well, I was testing out different heels. The gauge on the sock tube is a little bit tighter than what I would normally knit my socks. So I ended up using a US 1.5, which is a 2.5 millimeter, to match gauge. And normally I would knit my socks on a US 2, which is a 2.75. But
I was just pointing out that the yarn looks a little bit crazy right now in the heel.
They're also not washed or blocked.
Because they're not blocked and it's been knit and reknit.
Yes. And so the heel instep portion is often, it's the widest part of your foot, and that's often the part of contention with afterthought heels or with sock tubes, things like that, with a lot of knitters. And so you showed it to me, and it was this really great kind of tutorial to add
a gusset.
It's a gusset. So from where my fingers are to here, this is all a German short row gusset before I even started the... I have to weave an end. That's why there's a little hole there. But so this whole portion here is a gusset before you even start the heel decreases, which is basically just knitting a toe in the heel spot. So what that does is it adds the length that you need so it doesn't stretch out and pull funny here.
So it's not as tight over the instep.
Right, and fits beautifully. I mean, that made the world of difference.
It completely changed the way the sock fit.
And so, as you can see, I have my other one to do, but all I have to do is the cuff for that. And so a little trick that I did was I used some of the waste yarn that was at the top of my sock tube, and where I put in my halfway point in the stitches, so this is a 64 stitch tube, so at the 32 stitch point from this side and that side, I just ran a waste yarn up the whole side of the tube, so I would know where to also start my heel and my cuff so that the sock didn't twist. So I just did a simple running stitch, and I mean, I can pull this out after I do my teal, but thank you. But it's a good way to just easily keep track of where your side of the sock is so that you're not off a stitch or two when you're doing your heels, toes, and cuffs. But so
problematic.
That could be problematic. So I have almost a finished pair of socks, and then I started another pair of socks that are going to be a gift knit for my dad. And so I started the Morrison socks by Jenny. Is it Blumenstein? Yep. Of toque yarn. So that's a fun pattern.
This is a really great pattern.
Yes. And I'm doing a rib cuff on mine, but you can also do rolled, and it's a great DK sock pattern that has a bunch of texture. And so I wanted more of a boot sock, and I am knitting mine out of some Romney wool, and well, except for this year, but every year we would go to the Wisconsin Sheep and Wool Festival in Jefferson, Wisconsin, and I had been picking out a couple of different fleeces here and there, and then I would have them spun at a local mill in different weights of yarns that I wanted, and kind of utilize the best properties of that wool, or what that fleece was. And so I had the Romney spun a little bit thinner, so kind of a fingering weight, but it's a nice long wool, so it's very durable. Not as soft as one would probably use for a bunch of sweaters, unless you like that texture, but certainly could be used next to skin.
It could work as a sweater, but maybe not a sweater that you would wear like with a tank top.
Right.
Or short sleeve shirt.
Yeah. But very durable, very warm. So, and this is the natural color of the Romney, and I have, I don't know, 10 or 12 skeins from the fleece that I bought. Quick question. Yes.
Your dad wears like 5 pairs of socks at a time?
My dad loves to wear socks, loves to wear thick socks, loves to wear hand knit socks, and will wear multiple pairs of socks together.
And is always cold.
So
are you thinking he'll wear these as an outer pair, or are you thinking
this will be a single? So it's thick enough, being the Romney held double. So this is the yarn. Let me show you.
But your dad isn't really sensitive to wool
textures, no.
Yeah.
So it's a fingering weight, but I'm holding it double, like I said, which is creating a nice thick, I would say worsted weight, not DK. But this is what my sock looks like so far. So it's going to be a nice thick kind of boot sock. And this being thicker, he won't have to wear multiple pairs to get that warmth. And the Romney will hold up and be really durable. So yeah, that's kind of fun. I love the texture. And so on the front of the sock, the kind of garter plaids or lines are further apart than they are on the back.
I forgot about that.
It's a really...
It really messes with my mind.
Oh, yeah. I had to rip it out and start over because I screwed it up, and then I ended up switching the sides on accident.
I forgot about that until you said it, because in the back, they're like every
other row.
They're even. And in the front they're spaced one row.
rows.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But really fun. Super easy to memorize the pattern. I hope to have these done for Christmas. And I will happily make as many of these as he wants, and would even make myself a pair.
Yeah. I think I've knit 3 or 4 pair of those and given them away as gifts. They're nice. It's a really great sock pattern.
And I love the Romney. I mean, it's super squishy, and it's a little bit more on the toothy side, but again, it's a sock.
It feels like linen.
It does feel a little stiff, but I've blocked it in a swatch, and it does kind of relax a little bit.
Yeah.
And, you know, some of this is I didn't wash these skeins, so some of them that I've had spun, I've had Kate wash before she gave them back to me, and some of them I didn't, and I started to appreciate having her wash them first, because the spinning oils do, I mean, it's a little bit stiffer and scratchy, and then once the spinning oil comes out of the yarn, it tends to soften and bloom a little bit better. So yeah, so that's fun. Those are the 2 pairs of socks I'm working on. Should I just keep going, or do you want to talk about
Do you want a break?
Sure. Coffee break.
Coffee break. What am I doing? This is an acquisition / new sock. I guess I'll put it on the blocker. Why not? Let me act like I know what I'm doing. This is a new sock that I am working on. Oh, the colors are great in the camera. This is a new purchase for me, a holiday purchase. This is from Turtle Purl Yarns, Emily over there. And this is her Mistletoe Kisses colorway, which I love. One of the things I really like about her yarns, she does a lot of self-striping like this, where there's wider sections, narrow sections, and, you know, instead of just being even blocks of color, which is also nice,
right.
She does varying width stripes to create some different patterns, so that's really nice. This, the sock pattern is the Mistletoe Kisses sock pattern by Mina Phillip, who is Knitting Expat, and she kind of wrote this pattern to go along with the sock. This is a great pattern, and I'm excited to try it. I love to knit socks, and I use a lot of self-striping sock yarns, and the pattern that has these textured stitches that are done with kind of a yarn wrap would work really well with any self-striping yarn or any striping yarn. So I'm really looking forward to trying this out.
Did you edit the heel and do the one that you usually do, or?
Oh, from the pattern.
Yeah.
Like, edit? What are you talking about? I don't follow patterns. I mean, I followed the pattern for this, but...
Hello, sweater.
You know, it's funny you say that. I don't even know what the pattern said as far as a cuff. I just kind of ignore that because I always do a 2x2 rib. So yes, I did the normal slip stitch heel that I do with the garter border. So Mina, if I'm not mistaken, in the pattern, she gives 2 short row, German short row heel options. One that has a mini gusset and one that doesn't. So her pattern does include an option for a German short row heel.
Similar to the one that I did?
No.
Or is it in garter stitch?
You didn't do a German short row heel.
Well, I mean the little...
No. Nope. Stop trying to help.
Can't think of the word.
Stockinette.
Gusset?
No, it's not like that at all.
Okay, Mom.
And the
Fine.
No, the reason this is important. We could go down the sock.
That's not Minnesota nice.
We could go. Listen, we could go down the sock knitting rabbit hole for a while. The reason hers is different is because it's not knit as an afterthought heel, and what hers does differently in the short row heel with mini gusset option, because you're knitting it as you're knitting the sock, it knits like 4 or 5 rows is what it looks like. I mean, I'm saying this without reading the pattern or looking at it, but you knit a portion of the heel and then you do the short row. And because you've knit a portion of the heel before you start the heel part, you end up with a little itty bitty gusset like that, but you couldn't do that in an afterthought heel. So it kind of accomplishes the same thing that you did, kind of, but it does it in a totally different way because yours happens after the fact and hers happens as you're knitting the sock. But if you like the pattern, and it is a paid pattern, so I won't give away too much details. If you like the pattern, you could buy the pattern and use it in any sock that you wanted, which is what I think I'll do kind of for
Especially
future
fun
ones.
in a self-striping.
Yeah, I think it looks great in a self-striping. Emily also was so sweet. I don't know why. I must have had some complete absent-minded moment. Also, can we just say, we'll talk about acquisitions in a minute. I have purchased more yarn in the last 4 weeks than I have in the entire year, which is kind of terrifying. We live in a yarn store, and for the last couple of years...
we don't, but it looks like a yarn store.
I mean, it could be. For the last couple of years, I've not bought a lot of yarn because I've been kind of overwhelmed by all the yarn I have. But I'm a sucker for self-striping. So
We have an entire cube of self-striping.
hello.
Right there.
That's not all of it.
Where's the rest?
Well, there's a whole pile on the floor next to me. There's some upstairs.
Part of your acquisitions.
So I ordered. I'm terrible.
On track. Focus.
No,
Focus. What are you doing?
Okay, well, it's in there, but I'm not going to dig it out.
Focus.
Emily dyes her sock yarn in matching skeins. So when you buy her yarn,
You get 2 matching skeins.
like this. So they come, is that upside down? They come in 2 identically dyed skeins of yarn, which is really cool. I wanted to point that out.
This is the trench coat colorway, by the way.
But this sock's friend is in a bin somewhere. So you can get 2 completely identical socks. I'll also point out, I think the total yardage is like 480 yards between the 2 skeins. So I knit an entire sock, and you can see on the blocker, this one's pretty tall, and I still have a huge,
460.
460 yards. I still have a huge chunk of yarn left. So I could realistically, if I did another contrasting heel and toe, I could probably get a pair of shorties out of
that would be
this.
fun.
I'd have to look. So she offers her skeins with and without the contrasting mini, and I totally ordered it without, and then immediately wished that I had. So I reached out to her and I was like, I'm buying more yarn. Can I get a mini? And she was nice enough to include the mini. So this is exactly matched. In fact,
It's funny, it looks a little bit brighter, not next to that green.
it looks brighter next to the green, but I had to...
It's the same color.
When
for
I was
sure.
following my sock pattern, the first 2 rows of the toe are actually the red stripe that was getting ready to start here, down here, and the yarn is identical. Like you can't tell at all where the toe stopped, like where the other yarn stopped and the contrast started. So beautifully dyed. Again, the Mistletoe Kisses colorway from Turtle Pearl Yarns, and the Mistletoe Kisses sock by Knitting Expat Mina Phillip. Is it
Great
Phillip or
pattern.
Phillips? I wrote Phillip.
I don't know.
Who knows? One quick thing I'm going to say. I knit this on a US 1, which is a 2.25 millimeter 72 stitch sock, which is what I've been doing. I've been on this mission in 2020 to find my perfect size, gauge, tension, thickness. And I've gone from a 64 stitch on a US 2, which is a 2.75, down to a 72 stitch on a US 1, 2.25, because I like the denser fabric. What's interesting though is I've showed a lot of my socks that I do my default slip stitch pattern, which pulls the fabric significantly tighter than just stockinette. So I've been experimenting with all of these different patterns, kind of doing the 2.25 with a 72 stitch sock. You'll notice this one's a little bit baggier on the sock blocker. The fabric, it fits really well. I was worried that it wasn't going to fit, that it was going to be too loose. It fits really well, but there is no negative ease. There's not really positive ease. Like it fits. And it's a nice sock. But I want to knit this pattern or knit a plain stockinette sock again, a 72 stitch sock. And I'm going to...
One you can see these are identical blockers. This has negative ease.
Well, that's also a 64 stitch.
Right,
sock.
but same gauge.
Similar gauge, yep. So I'm going to try this again just for a good comparison with a different Turtle Pearl yarn that's a similar weight, or I may even use the exact same base with just a totally unrelated color. And I want to try this same pattern on a 0,
Oh.
which will decrease, it will give me a little bit snugger of a sock. And I just want to compare. So I'm looking for the comparison. This one fits really well. It looks really nice. So that's the sock. So I finished the one. I'll cast on the other. I was thinking about giving them to my mom, but
I want to keep it.
now I really like them. So sorry, Mom. You're getting other socks, not these.
Cool.
Oh, and that thing that I just slammed on the table. This is one of the adorable stitch markers from Takami Crafts. We'll show them a little bit later. We've got 2. I showed one last time, but this is a hot cocoa with marshmallows, a little candy cane straw. I flung it across the floor earlier today because I have chubby little Polish fingers, and I can't. I apparently can't operate a class.
While we're talking about those, we have 2 different ones to give away. She makes amazing things and generously gave us a bunch to give away, so that's super fun. So we'll give away 2 sets, but
hot cocoa and like buffalo plaid hot beverage cup.
So one's a hot cocoa.
I had that one on my...
And one's a buffalo plaid cup. So we'll give those away on Instagram and probably in Ravelry.
More to come.
More to come.
I have one more. So that was my faux.
Mm-hmm.
No, that was a hoe. I don't know what I'm doing.
One.
Yeah. Apparently, this is the episode all about things we're making for your dad for Christmas. But your dad loves hand knits.
Mm-hmm. Well, eventually we'll get to my other family members.
Yeah. And
see, my family lives in Wisconsin, where it's cold. Your family lives in Oklahoma and Texas, where it's hot.
Right, where they love hand knits, but cannot wear them. Unless I was making like lace shawls for everybody, which I'm not.
No.
I mean, I love lace knitting, but that's a different story. So the next thing I'm knitting, and I have the pattern somewhere, so I will... Oh, are we transition? What are we talking about?
Just keep
Works in progress?
Yeah, that's what we've been talking about, you goof.
Jeez. You talk enough and you don't know what's happening. I am knitting for your dad, also for Christmas, the Hatch Hat. So I saw this. Aaron from Fiber Hustle recently made one, I think, for Chip, a green one.
Oh, yeah.
And then we were knitting with him the other night on Zoom, and he had on a gold one, and it looked amazing. And then Kevin from Needles at the Ready also made one, and I was like, I gotta knit this hat.
We gotta get the Hatch Hat train going.
Yeah, so I'll show really quickly. This is a Brooklyn Tweed pattern written by Emily Green. I'm going to show the pattern because there's instructions in here for a watch cap as well as a beanie. So it's got all of the measurements for kind of 2 different versions of the same hat. I am knitting for your dad the watch cap version, so it has the folded brim. And I'm not very far yet. It's just the brim. I think I have to go 4 inches before I get into the next step of the pattern. But I'm knitting this out of Malabrigo Rios, which is a worsted weight. The pattern calls for DK, so I'm living on the edge right now. And there's only one size because it's a ribbed hat, so it'll fit kind of pretty much anybody. It's a lot of 1x1 rib right now. But this is the Cocoa colorway. And I'll point out while I'm thinking about it, my current favorite set of stitch markers from Mr. Rainbow, who is Jackson of Aves Fiberworks. I'm literally the worst. I should just pick it up. But Mr. Rainbow, we'll talk about those again in a minute. We talked about them last time, but I actually have one on my hat and I have one on my sweater. So these are they the semi-precious stones?
And Jackson has some really, really fun Christmas ones.
Which
holiday themed.
I also bought 2
2
sets of because I want to keep one and I want to give one away. And then I bought 2 more sets of these because I'm out of control. I've been waiting. So I found out that he was making holiday ones. And so I didn't place an order for the semi-precious stone markers until they had those up. But
and they come beautifully packaged.
When I saw Luke's post that they were live in the shop, I literally dropped whatever I was doing and ordered 4 sets of stitch markers and more yarn because apparently I've lost my mind.
Because we don't have enough.
Because we don't have enough. So working on the hat. Hopefully we'll have that done to show you next time. And
Can I talk about my hat?
yeah, you talk about your hat, and then we both have sweaters on the needles.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, sure. You betcha.
You betcha. I am the literal worst, so I didn't print the pattern. But I am working on the Coffee Talk toque.
Coffee talk.
Coffee Talk. Oh man, I just dropped a stitch.
Well, I was working on it until I
please.
ripped it off the needles. We are getting the full-on death stare from the cat.
Who's currently sitting on a quilt that I cut all the fabric for.
She's got her rear end laying on white fabric.
She's a brat.
Thanks, Steph.
The Coffee Talk toque by Tracy Miller of the Grocery Girls. She came out with a Coffee Talk socks pattern, which is basically the same texture.
Socks first.
Socks first.
The hat is new.
Then the hat just came out 2 weeks ago, a week ago. But as soon as it came out, I knew that I had to make it. So there's kind of a great shot of the texture of it. Mm-hmm. Super simple, super fun pattern.
Is the texture all the way around?
Mm-hmm. So it's in sections.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's kind of bordered by these fun slip stitch columns, which are supposed to be in the ribbon here, but I got really excited, and because I didn't print the pattern and didn't have it in front of me, I just knit a bunch of ribbon and forgot that I was supposed to be slipping these stitches as well. But I remembered that up here, so that's all that matters. So this is out of the Chelsea Luxe DK of Chelsea Pearls, and it is her Stilettos and Jeans colorway, and it is 100% superwash merino, 225 yards for 100 gram skein. But so this is what it looks like caked up. Mm-hmm. My ball is kind of a mess.
It's a great combination of colors.
But I love the way it's knitting up and the way the colors aren't, I would say pooling, but it's really kind of all over. It's just really fun.
It's just doing whatever it wants.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I will be knitting a ton of these.
It's so dark outside.
Yeah, it's...
Although it's 4:30.
Well, welcome to Wisconsin, where there's no sunshine out, and it's
Right.
4:30 in the afternoon.
Sad day.
But yeah, so that's out of the Chelsea Luxe yarn in the DK. I love the hat pattern.
Who's it for?
Well, I was gonna originally make it for my dad, but since you're making him a hat for Christmas, I'm not gonna make him a hat for Christmas. So maybe I'll keep it for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I love to knit hats. I don't often wear hats, but
Because it messes up your fancy hair.
in essence, that what hair I have left.
I don't even want to hear it.
Anywho, love to knit hats, but don't often wear them. So maybe we'll just add it to the gift pile. I don't know. We'll see.
TBD.
So that's my hat. On to sweaters.
Yeah, go for it.
I am knitting the High Lonesome.
I thought we were doing good on time, and now we're at an hour and 15 minutes, and we have like 400 things that we've purchased sitting on the table to talk about.
Oh, hush. The High Lonesome sweater by Caitlin Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely love it. And I am knitting mine out of Farmer's Daughter Fibers, Recollect, which is the main color, in the colorway Cinepaw, and it is a 100% white and black Rambouillet. So here's the beautiful deep.
Rambouillet is such a good yarn.
It's so squishy.
Fun fact, the first lamb I ever bottle raised was a Dorset Rambouillet cross.
That's an interesting mix.
Useless information for the day.
So that's my main color. And then my contrast color is Cold Comfort. It is a spin cycle. It's dyed in the wool, so I was supposed to be using the Dream State, which is the worsted weight, because it helps the color pop. But the Recollect, which is the main color, is a sport weight, and so is the yarn I'm using, which is the dyed in the wool, instead of the Dream State. I just like the color combo.
So you're living on the edge.
I'm living on the edge. I got gauge. That's all that really matters. So here I am basically done with the body. I just have to do the ribbing at the bottom. But here is my sweater. I love it to bits and pieces. So there's the color work portion of it.
It looks really good.
I love it. So I've knit the whole body. I just have to get to the ribbing and then do my sleeves. But fun fact, true to nature, true to form, I screwed up this sweater as well and got super mad and was about to totally rip it back. And I didn't realize it until I was down here. But I tried it on and I thought, that neckline, that short row shaping in the back is really weird. So do you notice anything off about it?
What's this?
Well,
It's some asymmetrical neck shaping.
It's like half a neck shaping because I screwed up and forgot to do the other side of the short rows. So instead of going across the whole back of the neck, it goes across half of it.
We're sitting on the couch.
And this will be an easy fix. You can go into the story in a second, but this will be an easy fix because what I'll do is I'll re-knit the neckline and then I will pick up the stitches right before the color work portion and just Kitchener the new neckline on.
Is that how you're going to do it?
Well, yeah. How else am I supposed to do it? It'll be an easy fix. Don't worry. True to form.
I would have just picked up the stitches and knit the ribbing.
Well, I can do that. But then the knitting is going to be in the wrong direction, which I care about. So I'm just going to show you the part that's not totally screwed up.
I guess that does make sense.
So yeah, I'll just fix the neck shaping in the back, but I love it so much.
I like this part.
Don't make fun of my weird neck shaping. I can't believe I messed that up.
So we're sitting on the couch, and I remember when you tried it on.
It's literally a tale of two sweaters.
Well, the moral of this story is you can't follow directions.
No, and I reread it and reread it and reread it and thought something was off and then got super frustrated and said, you need to read through this pattern because I have definitely screwed up the neck shaping and can't figure out what's wrong.
When you tried it on when we were together, you put it on, but you hadn't separated for your sleeves yet. So it was just the big yoke.
Right.
And you had this in the back. Mm-hmm. And I just remember thinking at the time, like, That's weird neck shaping. But I thought, when it's blocked, it'll be fine. Mm-hmm. No big deal. So you get to the point, you've separated for your sleeve. Had you separated for your sleeves? Or you were getting ready to?
When I figured out it was wrong.
No. Oh, you were trying to figure out. So your markers, when you were going to separate, you were counting.
So this is the beginning of my row.
Right. And when you tried it on originally, you put that in the back,
right,
thinking that this little crescent shape was just the back shaping, mm-hmm. and you were confused trying to figure out where to put your sleeves.
So when I put my sleeves in place, this did not match up.
And you handed me the pattern and said, "Please tell me if I have screwed up another sweater."
Which I did. And
sure enough, yeah. So the short row shaping says
it's supposed to go across the whole neckline, which it will.
Go this way, and then it says go that way. But you were doing.
I went to my marker instead of going past my marker.
Yeah. That's fun. You're going to be like
I'm a
mess. Sweater surgeon.
I should do a video of that.
Yeah.
Anywho, that more for a different day. But I love the way it's knitting up. I did go up a needle size to get gauge. So it calls for a US 5. I'm knitting mine on a 6. Mm-hmm. And getting gauge.
That's interesting. Mm-hmm. Although it's designer based. Because you normally don't have to change needle sizes. Mm-hmm.
But for a few designers, specifically Andrea Mowry and Caitlin Hunter, I always have to go up one needle size to get their gauge. Mm. And I don't know why.
Fun facts.
Facts.
Because they knit tighter than you.
Mm-hmm. So because I'm knitting mine in with dyed in the wool, I did have leftover.
No, they knit looser than you.
What?
I don't know.
Uh-huh. So I have a bunch left over. If you were using dyed in the wool, which is the worsted weight, you would only need 2 skeins at most for whatever size. And there's tons of other options. I mean, you could certainly do it in a solid. You could do it in other yarns that are similar to the
in the pattern. Cycle. I think she shows up with a solid yarn, doesn't she?
No.
Oh.
Maybe. I don't know. There's a couple of other great options that are really similar to Spin Cycle,
But maybe
that aren't quite as
less
pricey.
pricey.
Now, I only used one skein, so it wasn't terrible, but it's definitely an investment, but it's fun. It's a woman-owned business, so happy to support everything. But when it comes to shopping small, I don't mind having to pay higher prices just because, and I know that's not in everyone's capabilities or abilities, but it's a sweater for myself, and it's going to be a treat and a treasure. So
Just like you.
I am a treat, a treasure, a delight, exhausted. But so I'm having a lot of fun. The colorway looks totally different knit up than it did in the skein, or even in the ball. I was not expecting the blue.
I love this section, but then I also love the little blue at the top. It just gives it it's almost like a sunrise. Different. Yeah.
But yeah.
It's beautiful colors.
So that's my sweater. Hopefully I don't screw it up anymore.
Well, it's fairly uncomplicated from here out.
Yeah, it'll be an easy fix. I'm just really bad at short rows, apparently.
You're just bad about following directions.
Hush. Do you have any other knitting to show?
I do.
You do?
Yep.
Oh, your sweater.
Literally every part of my body is tired right now. So Woolens and Nosh, Michelle. Did I not bring? Oh, what am I doing? Michelle texted me. I don't know. It seems like a year ago.
It was just a couple weeks.
At some point. Time. What is time? Who cares? What's happening? Michelle sent me a picture, I guess. She had asked her husband for a sweater kit for Christmas from Barrett Wool Co., which is Susan B. Anderson. And it's the Ruska sweater. So it's a 3-color Fair Isle top-down yoked sweater. Did I get all that right?
I think so.
Yep. That also has color work, not just on the yoke, but after you separate for the sleeve, it does have quite a bit of color work on the sleeves also. So Michelle was like, oh my God, my husband's going to get one for Christmas for me. And then I immediately went on.
Like, I'm so excited. And then...
Like, who am I?
2 minutes later, she texted me, and separately from you, and said, I think you're going to have a Ruska kit in your house. I was like, what are you talking about? Well, 10 seconds later, I get another text from her that said that you bought the kit that she got.
Yeah, literally. 10 seconds is about how long it took. I was like, oh, that's great. I've been wanting to do a color work
Never knit a yoked sweater. Never knit a colorwork sweater. Oh, great. Let's do it.
Perfect. Yeah, check, check.
I mean, I say that and I've screwed up.
Buy a kit. Go for it. So...
Why not?
Yes, so I bought the Ruska, well, I'm going out of order, but I'm knitting the Ruska sweater, which is Jessica McDonald Designs. I'll show that first again. And then Susan put together kits of yarn in her Wisconsin Woolen Spun, which, oh God.
Is such
How about I just pick up the project bag? That seems like a great plan. Oh, hi. I don't know what I'm doing.
It's such a dreamy yarn.
This yarn, I just want to buy 1,000 skeins of it, maybe more, and just make a bed and then lay in it. But instead, I'm going to make a sweater.
And then lay in that.
And lay in that. So this kit from Susan is the same 3 colors that are in the pattern. So this is her Wisconsin Woolen Spun in the colors... Pebble is the gray. Nope. Pebble.
Nope.
This is Pebble, Penny, and then Quaker Gray.
That's Quaker Gray. This is Pebble.
Okay, whatever. Clearly, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing.
Love you, mean it.
What's happening? We should just...
We're falling apart.
We should
help us.
Help! So, Pebble, Quaker Gray, Penny are the 3 colors. And all I can tell you is if you love spongy, soft, amazing
Squishy, cozy, warm.
yarn, you must buy Wisconsin Wool and Spun by Bearded Wool Company. But don't buy it all because I need to buy more in my life. The best way I can describe this yarn, for those of you who have used Brooklyn tweed in the past, this is a worsted weight woolen spun yarn. So in that sense, they're very similar. However, this is, and it doesn't say what type of wool it is. It just says it's 100% American wool. It is to die for. It's like Brooklyn tweed, only
It's
like
stronger,
softer and spongier.
Squishier.
It's like if Brooklyn tweed and a merino sheep got together and had a baby, it would be this yarn. It is literally incredible. So that's the yarn. I lost my mind and bought a sweater kit because whatever.
I love that you went from not buying any yarn for like the last 2 years
I probably,
and just fell down a rabbit hole.
I mean, spouses of people who knit, ignore this right now. I'm going to feel good about myself saying I've probably purchased maybe 20 skeins of yarn in the last 2 years. Would you say that's fair? Maybe 20.
Yes.
And the majority of it is fingering weight, self-striping yarn. Like we literally went to Stitches Midwest last year, and I think I came home with maybe 4 skeins. Oh, and a sweater quantity. Okay, so that's not entirely true.
Huh.
But my acquisitions have come way down. And then I just randomly...
It's okay. I buy enough for both of us.
Oh, God.
See, you knit the yarn that I buy. It's a perfect relationship.
That's an understatement. So this is the top of my Ruska sweater. It is so fun.
Do you want to show the back to see what the short row shaping should look like?
Yeah. This is symmetrical short row shaping in the back. Notice how it goes on both sides. Yeah, it's real great. So the short row shaping, if you don't know, is what gives... Oh, God, I'm stuck. It's what gives the back a little bit of height so that it sits really nicely on the neck instead of just like choking you in a circle.
Well, and that helps the bottom hem of the sweater to sit even. To
sit
with the
nice
front.
and even. Yeah, so you'll have some nice shaping. I am maybe about a third of the way through the yoke, and you can see all 3 colors are in here at this point, which is great. I have another one of Jackson's stitch markers here marking the beginning of my round. This is knit on, the pattern calls for a US 7, but I had to go down to a US 6 to get gauge because apparently I am a loose knitter. So I had to go down a needle size, but the fabric is knitting up really well. I did actually have a slight issue where I had to rip some of it out, and it was before I got to the Fair Isle part. I was here in the color work, or in the short row shaping, but I forgot to change my needle size. So I had started with the smaller needle for the ribbing. No, that's not true. I changed my needle to the 7, but I was like, oh, pattern 7. And I forgot that my gauge swatch didn't work. What are you doing down there?
Sorry.
Come up or go away.
Like I said, Kat is very involved in what we're doing today.
Yeah, come on. What is happening right now? Oh my God.
And she's back.
And she's back. Hi, we're those people. Just ignore us. You guys know what you're getting into when you sign up for 2 hours of this shenanigan parade.
Shenanigans.
So I am making this for myself. The pattern is great. Not only is it only 6 pages,
Put that away.
which is nice for a colorwork sweater, so a pretty short pattern. I think it comes in like 8 or 10 different sizes, and I'm knitting the 48.
She's just living her life.
Yeah. Apparently we've not paid enough attention to her. So I'm knitting the 48 inch. It's designed for 2 to 4 inches of positive ease, and that will give it about 4 inches of positive ease on me. So I think it's going to be really nice.
It is amazing.
Actually like this yarn so much, I'm kind of thinking about just kind of a reddish colorway that I thought about pairing with my Handspun for a future sweater. Like I need more yarn. Like there aren't 50 sweaters worth of yarn sitting right behind me. So Ruska sweater, I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to have to go in timeout for a little bit because in my head...
What are you making me for Christmas?
Nothing. Oh, mittens. No, that's not true. I am making you mittens.
You said that entirely too fast.
Yeah. Well, because what you're thinking I'm going to make you is a sweater, but we know that's not happening. This is what happens when you've been together like 24 and a half hours a day.
Ow!
For 8 months.
I will pet you later.
Yeah, cat bites. So that's it. Is that all my works in progress? Sweater, hat, sock. What else are you doing? Should we transition completely and talk about acquisitions, or do you have more knitting?
No, that's all the knitting I have. Let's talk about yarn.
What have we been buying?
Well,
Literally everything.
Before we get into that.
Oh, do we have administrative things?
Kind of, sort of.
Thank you for joining the knitting section of our talk today.
Yes. If you...
We're taking a hard left turn into spending all of our money.
I mean, there's some other fun
and
stuff.
Administrative things.
Yeah. So if you don't want to see that, we have loved spending time with you and catching up. And we'll catch you next time.
Yeah. If you need 450 gift ideas, stick around.
So, the Two Sheeps yarn store, owned by Lisa and Maria, sent out a super awesome yarn calendar.
I loved it. Oh.
Would you cut it out?
Yarn calendar / cat snack.
We'll keep this one. They sent
Unless you want it with tiny teeth marks in it. If you're into that, let us know.
What's really cool, before I get into too much of the administrative portion of it, is that they picked an independent yarn dyer.
Oh gosh, what's happening? There we go.
Every month. So each month there is a different featured dyer, a different featured yarn, and you can buy the yarn will go on sale along with some other fun goodies exclusively through that shop each month. Mm-hmm. And a portion of all of the proceeds from the yarn, the calendars, and everything that kind of goes with it.
There's such great yarns in here.
Yes. Will go towards nonprofit organizations, including, I'm just looking at the notes, Feeding America, Southern Poverty Law Center, Black Lives Matter, Knitted Knockers, and Warm Up America, just to name a few. So a super fun calendar. And it, like I said, it features...
And a great cause.
Yeah, it features a lot of independent yarn dyers. Some of them you may know and love, and some may be new, which is really cool. And they feature each yarn, and they do a giveaway every month, starting in 2021. New year, new yarn.
New you.
New you. But it's really great. Yeah, and so there's a lot of different yarns, like I said. And we've got a couple to give away. So we'll absolutely give one away on Ravelry. So check out the Ravelry stuff and kind of stay up to that. We're going to be giving away a bunch of stuff. And then I decided right before we were going to podcast that I'm going to do 12 days of giveaways. So the entire first 12 days of December, we're going to give away a new item that we love and use, including some stuff like this, for 12 days throughout December. So December 1st to the 12th, on Instagram, we'll do a post in the morning, and we'll keep it open probably until midnight Central Standard Time, and then we'll close it and do a giveaway, and so we'll get those out. Some of those things might not arrive until after the holiday season, but we've got 12 great things that we know and love and use, and we want to share them. And if Ellen can do 12 days of giveaways, we can do 12 days of giveaways. Am I right? No, you're not going to get like a TV or anything because I don't have that kind of budget. But
this calendar is great.
And it's super cute.
Right? It's a great calendar. It's a great cause. It supports charitable organizations and independent dyers. So thank you so much for the calendars.
It is a
one for us and a couple to give away.
Perfect little bundle wrapped up into a calendar.
Yeah.
And what a great way to get 2020 on the right track. You know, let's hopefully like do a reset.
You mean 2021?
Shit. Yes. 2021.
Yeah. What is time?
So
my sister was trying to tell me.
She was like adamant.
I said something about
2019.
I said something about 2021, and she was like, "Don't you mean 2020?" I was like, "We're in 2020," and she was like, "Nah, COVID-19." She was like, "Oh wait, yeah, that started a year ago." Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anywho.
Okay. So thank you for the calendar.
So there's that.
It's very exciting.
And then I'm gonna get into my stash acquisitions.
Yeah.
I found I'm gonna say local. As in the state of Wisconsin. I mean, she's on the other side of the state, but what's a couple of hours drive? Melissa Todd owns Wool and Feather Farm, and she raises a couple of different sheep. But I was particularly smitten.
You mean a couple of different types
breeds.
Of sheep?
A couple of different breeds, yes.
She has lots of sheep.
Yes, she has more than a couple of sheep. So Wool and Feather Farm. And Pampered Sheep Quality Fiber is her little slogan, and totally agree, because the fiber is amazing. So this is Shetland in 4 absolutely stunning colors, and it's worsted weight. So this is in Shetland terms, I mean...
I feel like we've managed to get the lighting
pretty great. So this is a Shetland black, and I mean, it's not a solid black.
It's kind of like a charcoal heathery, charcoal gray.
Then this is a Shetland light gray, it's pretty darn close to cream. Shetland dark gray, and then the brown fawn color. But so these are all natural colors of the sheep. And
can I just say, for people who don't know what a Shetland sheep looks like,
they're like the size of a dog. They're tiny.
They're just magical creatures of the yarn world.
Yes.
You know, you think like merino are big. They are large sheep.
When you think
or like a BFL.
So if this puts it into perspective, a Shetland fleece can weigh up to what, 4 pounds? And a merino fleece, a full-grown merino, could be 12 pounds of fleece.
But a Shetland, I feel like, is like a quarter of the size.
Oh, yeah.
Like...
They're little wool machines.
And they have these tiny little spindly legs, and they're real sassy.
They're real cute.
Anyway.
But so I have...
More fun facts. You come here for information.
Right. Welcome to this nonsensical education session.
We should just quit.
But so I have these 4 colors, and I've got plenty of all of them. But a bunch of the like cream color, because so I often do this thing where I will go like on Etsy and find different makers that I like, or like yarn dyers, whatever. I'll add it to my cart, but then normally if I don't buy it right away, I will transition it from my cart to like my saved for later, or like my favorites. Well, I forgot to do that, and depending on what your like browser history does, if you go in and add something, it will just continue to add on and like tack on. Yeah. Siri, she's a real pain in my rear. But so I went to her website, I don't know, 3 times on Etsy, and added a couple skeins, enough for a sweater, into my cart. Well, then a different shop of mine, or a different shop that I like to buy stuff from, Wax and Wool, their candles. She was having some of her fall scents or Christmas scents. I can't remember which one I bought. But I checked out and just hit like check out now, buy all now. Let's just say I ended up with 20 skeins of the white yarn and didn't really realize it because I was too excited and too like on the go with the candles. So it's a stunning yarn and I didn't want to return it. So I didn't. So I have enough yarn for a sweater for me in this color, a sweater for you in this color, and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Well, the story here is really not what did you do with 20 skeins of yarn? The real story is that I think you bought like 30 more to counteract the 20.
In all of the colors.
And give yourself color options. So we have a lot of stunning Shetland now.
Oh, and it's $10 a skein. Maybe $12. For worsted weight, locally grown, locally milled Shetland. And it's stunning yarn.
It's beautiful. It's got a nice halo. The colors are great.
Super fluffy, super soft.
You might see 10 sweaters.
You might see about 10 sweaters. But where I'm getting at with this is if you have...
Are you getting anywhere?
If you have recommendations for colorwork sweaters that use like a worsted or a DK, I think it could be knit at either gauge, that use 3 to 4 colors, send them my way. Leave a comment down below with any sort of fun, either yoked or raglan or even cardigans. I'm just looking for some inspiration for colorwork sweater patterns that use a worsted or a DK.
You should look up Lopi patterns.
And
What?
Stop interrupting me. Trying to get through the story here. I'm also going to make a pair of colorwork Norwegian mittens out of this. So, but yeah, so those are the fun colors. That was my really kind of accidental oopsie turned into too much yarn purchase.
In a happy way.
In a happy way.
Twice.
Shush. It's beautiful, and I love it. And great colors. I mean...
Beautiful.
And it's... I can't say it enough, but it is so soft and squishy. I might put together a little bundle, depending on what you guys have, as far as inspiration ideas for, like, hats, mittens. I'll also take that, too. Maybe I'll put a little bundle together and give it away as one of my 12 days of giveaways. I'll do that. So leave a comment down below with some sweater patterns that use a couple colors, and also maybe some mitten or hat accessory patterns, and I'll pick one of them and do a giveaway. Spread the love. Let's
really
spread the
excited to cast on something with that yarn.
I just... As dreamy and as drill-worthy as this yarn was, this is my new fave.
Remember at Wisconsin Sheep and Wool, was it 2 years ago? 3, 4? When I bought like 10 pounds of Shetland.
Yes. I wonder...
Comb top.
I wonder if that's the same... I should check.
That I was going to spin. I was going to spin a sweater's quantity of yarn.
I wonder if that's the same person.
I don't know.
But amazing yarn.
Somewhere in
Wool
a
and
bin over there.
You can find Melissa's shop on Etsy. Let's move this train along.
My turn or your turn? What are we doing?
Your turn.
Oh. Remember how I said my back didn't hurt?
My lower back is on fire.
Here, you talk about that.
Ooh. Christina from Chelsea Yarns.
I'm going to collect my stuff.
Chelsea Lux has come out with a really fun chicken collection because she and her husband have chickens. So what's really cool about this chicken collection is each yarn is kind of a mystery skein, but it is dyed after each individual chicken that they have. So this one is BB8, and everyone should have received theirs a while ago now, but it's a 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon, 400 yards. And like I said, the colorway is BB8, and I'm trying to see if it says which chicken breed BB8 is.
Chicken.
It does not, but the color is absolutely stunning, and
I can't wait to see how
totally
that
reminds
lines
me
up.
of the chicken. So I got that in the mail the other day, and it came beautifully packaged. I mean, Christina does an amazing job, and Red Bank Mike, her husband, also the shipping department. But she does a beautiful job dyeing yarn. And so there's lots of great kind of hidden colors in here. And I'm not sure what I'm going to make with it yet, but I'm a sucker for anything chicken related. I grew up with some chickens and poultry, and so anytime you say like a chicken club, or like Hugh Loco does the chicken sets.
More random facts.
All over it.
You and I have both raised chickens at separate times in our lives, and I don't think we've had any of the same breeds of chicken.
Except Buff Orpington.
Oh, I didn't know you had any.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, never mind.
Anywho.
More lies. Today's episode is full of things that are not true.
Full of yarn and secrets.
Okay, I am only showing a small part. Well, I can't show that.
Can't show what?
Isn't that a secret?
What secret?
That's the Advent yarn.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to show that.
Although, by the time...
She said no.
She did?
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, we'll talk. We're, in theory, going to record again soon. So I can tell you shops to check out.
We're going to be good this time and record in 2 weeks from now.
It's not good or bad. It is life. is complicated. So I'm going to show you
Right.
some things I bought from Michelle at Woolens and Nosh.
I actually bought that one.
Yeah, this one is yours. Because we bought so much that she just stuffed a bunch of cookies in a
I
box.
forgot what this was called.
And
Oh, speaking of the cookie swap set, we are actually doing a cookie swap.
literally,
So Michelle sent us a couple of baked goods and some treats.
Linzer torts, whatever those chocolate caramel things.
Chocolate caramel, like pecan
I
thumbprint
need
cookies.
50
And
more of
then
those.
an amazing spicy peanut brittle.
Like peanut
So
brittle
good.
with
I ate
cayenne
like half
pepper.
of it
Yeah.
the day after she sent it, and I had a real
We-
tummy ache, but it was so good.
Are so off track.
But so I got this one. It's called Schmancy Pumpkins.
Self-striping.
And
her-
there's a inspiration picture, I think, but it's, you know, those fun gourds and pumpkins in that fall season. But this is the 90% superwash Tarhi, 10% nylon base. So,
Yeah. Future socks.
mm-hmm.
Then I bought from Michelle the Christmas at Orchard House self-striping kit.
What is that inspired by?
Little Women?
Little Women.
Yeah, that's the name of their house. And also her Snow Day kit. Something else that Michelle has done. Hello. Forgot the tag was upside down.
Oops.
These are Michelle's. They're both her Corriedale nylon base. But she calls these her Kiss kits, which are keeping it simple striping kits. So they're larger stripes, 3 colors each, and she's able to offer them at a more affordable price because she's able to kind of cut down on her labor time. So if you're a fan of self-striping yarn, but some colors or dyers may be out of your price range, check these out from Michelle. I'm actually not sure if she has, I think she has some more in her shop still. But this Snow Day in particular, actually both of these, my mother was like, I want you to knit socks for me in those. But this is her Corriedale base that we talked about before. So I'm really excited about that. I may as well drag this other one out too. Oh,
Did you show the other one?
we already showed that one.
When?
Mr. Fezziwig,
Did we?
when we showed this.
Show it again.
Okay.
It's great. This is also part of our holiday.
Yep, this is one of her holiday bases, Mr. Fezziwig, with the coordinating mini. So really great colors, very fun holiday oriented. Woolens and Nosh. And then this one has nothing to do with the holidays. It's called Swizzle. And guys, I cannot get enough rainbow self-striping sock yarn.
Let's see. There's one here.
You,
There's one
you,
here.
you,
There's one there.
you. I have a problem. And here's more.
Rainbow sock yarn.
Rainbow sock
Anonymous.
yarn, anonymous. If you need to be in a club where you are either enabled or
There's no judgment.
just feel at home, yeah, just need some company, let me know. If you're looking for intervention, do not call me. Also, I love this color. I think the little mini is half of what sold me, that and the rainbow. So I got these. That's all the yarn I brought to show. I know you have some, but I'll say this because it's the holiday time. It's Cyber Monday, Small Business Saturday, Black Friday, you know, all these things happening here in the US. I'm not going to show my trilogy yarn acquisitions just yet. I'll save those for next time. But I got some yarn from Nancy, who is another wonderful human being. Check out her shop. In theory, this video will go up tonight or tomorrow in time. She's running a sale right now.
Yes. I will get it posted tonight. So I believe she's running a sale through tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it goes through tomorrow. No coupon code needed. So I didn't bring my yarn because I'm hoping that I don't just go completely crazy for 2 more weeks. So I'll show more acquisitions next time, including Nancy's. But check her out. And also Turtle Pearl. And
Next time we'll also be able to show what we were kind of secretly talking about before. The Advent skein.
from Kirby Werby.
Kirby Werby Shri is her name. Is it 24 stripe?
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
I don't know.
There's
I think it's 24 individual stripes in an Advent skein, and it's Schitt's Creek themed and inspired, and each color is
24 stripe.
is kind of modeled after a different scene, a different quote, and it's super fun. And we have the skein sitting here next to us, but it's an Advent skein, so technically we're not supposed to show it until December 1st, so we won't, but it's amazing. And we got one in the DK base that she offers. So I don't want to make Cherie mad, so we're not going to show it off right now.
But check her out too, Kirby Warby
Yes,
Yarns.
she's amazing. She's hilarious and so funny. So then my next acquisition is our incredible friend from the land down under, Kathy of the Whatnot podcast, also has a lovely shop, dyes yarn, sews project bags,
she does
paints,
literally everything.
She is incredible, and you definitely need to check out her podcast.
If she weren't the most lovely human being on the planet, you'd kind of want to shake your fist at her for being so talented.
Oh, if you name any like craft or talent, there's nothing she can't do. She's incredible at all of it.
Every time we watch one of her podcasts, I'm like, what is this woman up to? She's amazing.
She is amazing.
Yeah.
So I got a couple skeins of yarn, and then she sent one extra. So I'm just trying to make sure that these are the same base. Oh, they're not the same bases. I don't even know what I bought, but they were really kind of pretty colors. These kind of go together. So this one is a 4-ply. It's deluxe fingering base. It's 100 grams, 400 meters, 85% merino, 15% nylon, in a lovely, almost wintry color.
It's a really thick plush sock yarn. Feels really great.
And then this is a lace yarn. This is a baby suri, 75% baby suri, 25% silk. And then this is also the same. Oh no, this is a mohair silk base. And this is a superwash New Zealand Polworth base.
So we're putting together a box for Kathy to send to her that, might make it out in January at the rate we're going.
When was it? Was it the week of elections?
She sent us a package.
She sent us a Christmas package, and it could not have come at a better time. Totally almost broke down many times trying to open the thing because it was just a beautifully packaged. The sentiment, I mean, she's just an amazing, wonderful, loving, kind, talented, cannot say enough great things about her human being. And just the generosity and the love and the kindness in her heart it overfloweth. And so she sent us this amazing package. So we were planning on doing this anyways, but sending a holiday package for her and her daughter.
That's going to be like Valentine's Day.
Yes, well, especially with the delays in shipping. But so we keep looking at all of these yarns and we're like, oh my gosh, Kathy would love that. It's totally Kathy's colors. And then we realized that it's Kathy's yarn, and it would be silly to send her the yarn that she dyed back after we bought it.
Well, so you had bought the yarn. I had bought paintings that we'll show now, and she shipped them together along with some extra treats. And we've been hand selecting some of our favorite things to order and put together a package for Kathy.
And she did a great job at getting like Australian made items.
So we're trying to do the
same thing.
Things that she might not have access to that we like. But I saw the yarn on the counter and I was like, where did this come from? This is amazing. Kathy would love that. And then realized it was her
Kathy's yarn.
order. So help me. Oh God.
Don't fall over.
What's happening? Okay. Sorry. Tissue paper party happening. Deal with it, people. So as part of this package that came from Kathy, again, you should follow her. If you like painting and watercolors, she does watercolor tutorials and she does videos of her.
I forgot the cards I got.
We'll just keep showing them later. So I bought 2 paintings from Kathy to go.
Just rip it off like a Band-Aid.
I showed the bird painting that she made for us. It was a custom commission. That she painted for us. Tissue paper everywhere. So I saw this in one of her Instagram stories and immediately messaged her because I'm crazy and said, can I buy that? And she said yes. So this is the painting. You may have seen it on her Instagram. It's a little house on the water with flowers and a fence, and I am obsessed with it. It's beautiful, just like everything she does.
And there's metallic paints in here.
It's stunning. So I'm just going to throw the tissue paper, just deal with it. Oh God.
I wish you would have done that beforehand.
Yeah, well, clearly I did not. So then, because I'm crazy and even more crazy, I literally bought this and said, why don't you just hang on to that?
Because I know I'm going to buy
Because
more.
I'm going to buy more things. But, like, I want you to be paid for the work that you've done. And just, like, leave it in your house for a minute.
I mean, is this not incredible?
It's beautiful. I can't get into this. What's happening? Oh. Tissue paper party.
I can barely draw a stick person. And she just freeforms all of this.
Yeah. So we have birds that we showed in an episode a while ago. I just said, paint me something pretty. We like birds, flowers, whatever.
Really not picky.
Yeah, and she painted the birds, which is gorgeous. So then I bought this one, and then I messaged her, I don't know, like a week later and said, I'm going to need something, a third one, to tie those two together.
Hang
so
them
they
all
can
together.
go together. I can't.
I love this kitty.
And this is what she painted.
Look at it.
The little cat in front of the door with the flowers. I can't even appreciate the detail because I have such little artistic talent other than to say this is beautiful. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, she posted a story of her painting this one also. And I think she actually showed it on her podcast and said it was a commission and it was headed our way. So
is that not the cutest thing?
in our
I've ever seen?
package were the 2 watercolors and the yarn we had bought, and then some extra special goodies from Kathy because she's so sweet. And by goodies, I mean, like, it was so generous. It was just loaded with stuff.
There's even like actual treats, like candy
And chocolate, because I'm like a fat kid at camp. And I have no regrets. So thank you, Kathy. They're so beautiful. If you are interested in painting, sewing, knitting, I think she crochets too. I know her daughter crochets. And beautiful
She's
yarn
making
dyeing.
a lot of these fun little like stuffed animals right now.
Yeah, she has greeting cards. She sells her watercolors. She does a lot of commission work, which is really fun because she's so talented that she has a lot of one-of-a-kind type things, which is really nice. The other thing that I love that she does, and we need to get better at this, she searches out on Etsy in particular, looking for shops that have, I think, less than 100 sales is the criteria that she looks for. And then she finds, or she buys things to have, and then she gives them as gifts to people, or she may buy them intentionally. Some things are for her in her to me, from me, or for me, from me section of her podcast. But she seeks out people that don't have a lot of sales, and then some of the gifts that she included for us were things that she's purchased and then shown on her podcast. But it's such a great idea to just get on Etsy and look for new people, or get online, Instagram. That's how we find a lot of our inspiration, but it's something that she does to support local, in particular, Australian makers of all different kinds. And she's shared so many things that have then made me go look for equivalents maybe here in the US or in North America.
Well, that's what I love. Like, shopping local.
Such a community.
Shopping small. It shouldn't just be this time of year. It should be all year long. And, especially now when the smaller businesses and the independent shops, the small business owners, they're the ones that need the support that we can offer the most. Whether that be, sharing their photos, liking their photos, heading to their shop and liking stuff in the shop, and you don't have you don't have to buy things from shops to support them, or even independent makers or designers, whatever. Like, just sharing their stuff with other people is part of that gift of giving, and what helps support these different businesses. And so what I love is that she does that all year long, and will even incorporate some of those different things she finds into her own stuff. And I mean, that's what I love about it. And as this year kind of drags on a little bit, I'm finding how much more I appreciate doing that than I did in the past. We've always been very, support small, support local. We're a small business ourselves, but especially now, that's really important. Stay away from the Amazon Prime days, even if it's a great deal on things. Like, you will have that opportunity to purchase those things. It might take longer, and it might take a little bit more money to get it, or, you know, I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks extra in shipping. But it's important to, we're currently getting stared down by the cat again. It's important to, you know, support the small local businesses, because they're the ones that need the help right now. And we really appreciate that about Kathy. And I mean, we appreciate it with all of you, and we're so thankful that you have all come again to join us on another podcast, and, you know, support us with the shop, and leave all these wonderful comments and give us so much inspiration and love
and recipes
and project ideas. And some of you are super enablers and send us you know, other shops and things, and it's so fun. We love it. And like, if there's anything to be thankful for in 2020, this is it. And I will say it again and again. It is what we're doing now, the interaction, the love, and it's something that we really enjoy, and we're so happy to be here and sit and talk, and, you know, meeting all of these new people and developing these friendships and relationships, and the community portion of it is just incredible and never ceases to amaze. So thanks.
Look at you having feelings again.
It happens every once in a while.
Yeah.
But I truly mean it, though. All kidding aside.
Since we're at 2 hours
Of fabulousness.
do we want
Also,
to...
did you guys notice I decorated a little bit for the holiday season? Even with the green yarn, the peppermint stripe.
They kind of look like trees.
Yarn bolt. They do. Because they're cones.
Oh, I thought you did that on purpose.
Please, I'm not that insightful. And then some of the white Shetland, which I accidentally ordered a bunch of. Christmas.
Yeah. Do we have administrative things?
I guess the only thing I would say that we have right now. So some of us may or may not have started a Giftmas in July knit along, craft along, make along.
Oh! I'm literally... Hold on.
What are you doing?
Did we already show all these?
Yes.
Okay.
And by some of us, I mean me and you, and may or may not have participated.
Or they were gifts for ourselves.
Right. So didn't actually accomplish any, like, gift making, which is why we're in a last minute scramble. Big surprise there. So if you guys are making last minute gifts, or just working on, you know, some smaller things to gift to others, whether you celebrate a holiday this time of year or not, what are some of the projects you're working on? We would love to see and hear. So either comment down below. I'm going to open a thread on Ravelry, and we may or may not might draw some people for prizes. I don't know. That was terrible English, but I had like three trains of thought colliding at once. But so, anyways, what I'm gonna do is feel free to leave comments on what you're working on down below. We love to read through them. But also, like I said, I'm going to open a Ravelry thread. And so you can post pictures, link to the patterns, anything you want. What are you working on to give us a gift?
And I think our goal here is to
Collective here.
check in with you guys a couple of more times before the end of the year and show you some of the things that we're working up kind of last minute, and some of the smaller projects. You're probably not going to see as many sweaters from me over the next 4 weeks.
That'll probably happen after.
As many sweaters, like I finished one. And I act like I'm doing it. But yeah, it's a great opportunity to highlight some smaller projects and things. Yeah. I feel like we've been in a bigger project mode lately. I have so many shawls and hats and mittens that I want to make. So now's a good time to start sharing some of that.
Yeah, so feel free to post what you're working on.
Comment
in that.
below. Check out Ravelry.
I'm selfishly kind of doing this to get some inspiration and ideas for gifts.
Yeah.
So if you could help a guy out. Yeah, I'm just looking to make some things for some people. Otherwise, everyone's going to end up with the same hat for Christmas, which is not a problem. But
okay.
Only really one person would want a hat.
And then maybe when we check in a week or two, we can talk a little bit more, since we've covered a lot of the big stuff now.
Yep.
We've been hitting up the holiday movies hardcore.
There's some really good new ones.
There's some good new ones. And we've been watching a lot of podcasts and a couple of new knitting and crafting podcasts. So we'll make sure to give those, the time they do, or the time that they deserve.
Yeah, well, I think what we can do...
we'll list kind of the ones we've been listing
in the next
notes.
episode. We'll talk about maybe a lot of the fun stuff that we're watching or listening to, reading while we're doing all of our crafting.
Yeah.
So...
more to come.
Yeah.
But thank you. I don't think we thanked everybody for joining at the beginning. We've had a lot of new subscribers since our last episode 4 weeks ago. So thank you to everybody who subscribed. Welcome to everybody who's new. We say that at 2 hours and 6 minutes in.
Definitely should probably say that in the beginning next time. Right. Because I'm sure we've lost people, but...
I hope we've lost somebody who was like, I can't deal with this. No, I hope we didn't lose anybody.
I hope we didn't lose anybody.
It might take
we just get so excited
to watch it
that we ramble on forever and ever. But
we have a month worth of stuff that we're trying to get in here. But thank you
That's
to
good.
everyone. Hoping everyone is staying safe, being well. I know things are getting intense out in the world right now. So as we get into the holiday season, for those of us here in North America, it's colder weather, which brings us inside, which makes things a little more complicated. We continue to stay away from every human being in our lives,
because
except for virtual connections.
Want to stay safe.
Yeah, we want to stay safe and
we want all of you to stay safe, stay
those
healthy.
around us healthy. Yeah, so we'll wrap it up.
Yes.
We'll land the plane.
Land the plane.
We don't know what we're doing right now. But thank you for joining us. It's great to be with you all again. Thank you for all the connection and community, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye.
Bye, guys.